Hello everyone, and this build is going to be focused around just smacking the monsters with your gun lance. It's not too focused on shelling, but of course the option is always there if you so choose to. This is for just poking and doing the slam burst combo, but without the shelling burst, of course. So you just keep smacking the monster really hard for as big a numbers as you possibly can. For the weapon, we are going to be using the Flame Bite Gunlance. This is Brute Tiger X's Gunlance. Out of all the weapons I saw that were non-elemental, this is the hardest hitting Gunlance, while also maintaining decent to good sharpness. If there's another non-elemental or even elemental Gunlance that you prefer to use, you could probably use it. This is just for maximum smacking damage, while also having good sharpness. As you can see, it goes pretty well into purple. Next, of course, as with most of my builds, I prefer to use the maxed out attack charm, which gives us attack boost level 5. This is just to give us as much attack as we really can. Of course, as you can see, we do waste 1 point, but that's not too big of a deal. And then, of course, as I always say, the equipment you choose to use is completely and always up to you. You could use the immunity mantle, you could use the fireproof mantle, you could use one of the boosters. It's whatever you feel you need for the hunt, or you just have as a crutch equipment piece. For the helmet, as I usually use as well, is the Frostfang Helmet A, which gives us 2 points into Critical Eye, Quick Sheath, and a Punishing Draw from the Frostfang set bonuses, as well as pretty good decoration slots. For the chest piece, we have the Rex Roar Male Alpha, which is Brute Tiger X's chest piece. This gives us 3 points into attack boost, 1 point into weakness exploit, and it has a level 3 decoration slot. Obviously, it doesn't have very good decoration slottage, but we mostly want this for the attack boost and the weakness exploit. You could probably get away with the beta version of this. I believe all you lose is weakness exploit and maybe 1 point of attack boost, and you get better slots, but I don't know how much better it is. And then for the gloves, we use the Demon Lord Black Arm Alpha, which gives us 3 points into Handicraft, which is something that we really want with this build, because if we don't go high into Handicraft, the white sharpness and is really bad, as well as we don't dip into purple sharpness whatsoever. So it also has 1 level 4 slot, which isn't too crazy good, but it's still nice to have. And then next we have the Frostfang Coil Alpha, which is from Frostfang Barioth once again. This gives us Quick Sheath and Critical Draw. Since the Gunlance has a really high sheath animation, I mean, we're mostly doing this for the Critical Draw and the gem slots, but because we're not shelling, I feel like we're going to be doing more of a hit and run playstyle until we knock the monster over. So the Quick Sheath and the Critical Draw just help out a little bit. You could swap this out for something different if you don't want to do as much of a hit and run style, but I plan to use this for that specific playstyle. And then lastly, we have the Glavenus Greaves Beta, which is again for maxing out the handicraft, because if we do not get any purple sharpness and we barely get any white. So I feel like maxing out your handicraft for this specific weapon is pretty much mandatory or very high up on your to-do list. For the actual decorations themselves, the Flame Bite does not get any decoration slots, as sad as that is. So for the first jewel, we have a footing jewel. I like to run this on most of my Gunlance builds, because if you are blocking and the monster hits you with tremors, it'll knock you out of your guard and thus opening you up to get smacked. So I usually put up 1 point into footing at least, just to nullify minor ground tremors. Of course, if you're fighting something like a Diablos or a Devil Joe, you probably want a little bit more, but I usually don't worry about it too much. You could swap this out for something else if you really want it. This is just a comfort jewel pick personally. And of course, as this is a non-elemental weapon, we go for the non-elemental boost, so we hit even harder with big damage numbers. And then for the last jewel in the helmet, of course, we go with Critical Eye. As you can see, attack boost and crit eye are maxed out as much as possible. This again is to maximize the big damage numbers we can possibly inflict, and because the Brute Tiger X weapon goes into negative 30% critical eye or crit chance, uh, negative crit chance has a is the chance it has for you to do less damage per hit. So obviously you don't want that. You could probably not go max crit eye if you really wanted to. You could just stop at 0%, but of course big damage numbers requires critting as much as possible, so I put that there. And next we have guard up, so if you ever need the opportunity to block a big attack coming in and you feel like you can't quick sheath fast enough or whatever, this is just there as an oh shit button. Next we have a critical eye plus 2 jewel, this to again max out critical eye so we hit as hard as possible, as much as possible. For the next decoration we have a challenger jewel, this just makes it so when the monster is angry we gain plus 4 attack and plus 5% affinity, so we end up from 15% to 20% when the monster is angry. Whoops, excuse me. Next we have a critical boost jewel. This just means when we do crit, our crits hit for 30% more. This is a wonderful jewel to slot in as much as you can when you have decent affinity to high affinity. I feel like most builds use this just because of how good it is in general. Next we have another critical eye jewel. This once again is to max out the critical eye, pretty straightforward. And next we have a quick sheath and critical eye jewel which maxes out our quick sheath as well as maxes out our critical eye. And lastly, as I always say, your mantle jewels are completely up to what you want to do. You could slot whatever you want. It's not too crazy to go with whatever you really want. Honestly, I might even swap out a Destroyer for a Shaver Jewel. That could be pretty good. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. I thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, or night, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.